My team thought it was time that I took all the lessons that I've learned from my rally career and boiled them down into the 5 most valuable lessons that I've learned up to this point. If you want to go rally, this video is for you.
Chris, you know why we're here today?
Mike, I have no idea. You said to come down to the studio and we're going to shoot a video.
I think we should talk about 5 big lessons that you've learned in your rally career.
Okay. So up to this point, what I've learned, my 5 lessons.
Yep, and I have some clips here for you to look at and see if you can remember them all.
Oh boy. I guess this should be fun.
So I've broken this down into 5 categories, and the first one is mechanical sympathy.
Oh man. How have I become more mechanically sympathetic? Bristol. Jamie Beliveau, co-driver, going around the corner, trying to figure out why car no go. Jared teaching me what happens when you break a diff. And that was, yeah, I mean, for me in this moment, I had only had a few rallies of experience, and I knew one of my biggest weaknesses was going to be the mechanical understanding of a car. All right, I just didn't know how cars worked, and I still have a very vague understanding, but as I keep breaking things, I keep continuing to learn more and more about how cars work. And you know, Jared was grateful. He looked at the gearbox and didn't even want to open it. And I'm like, Jared, it's going to look way better on camera if we could figure out how this thing broke.
That turned into like an all-day thing, too.
That was supposed to be like a 20-minute thing, and it was hours of us trying to separate that gearbox just to see what we could see in the inside of it.
This should have popped off pretty easily. Need a bigger hammer.
So do you remember in your driving what caused that to happen?
Yeah, so right before that, in that clip, if I was coming up a hill and it was an extremely rough section, and in a standard gearbox, standard axle, Ford Fiesta, the worst thing you can do is have steering angle and a lot of pressure and jarring the car. We call it shock loading. And so I was just hammering the car, lots of input, lots of aggression, and the car just can't handle that repeatedly, right? And so you can get away with it a few times and get lucky, and this is one of the times it just caught up with me. So yeah, and in that moment I didn't know why it broke either. Jamie has done a lot of rally. He's been a mechanic. So we were sitting there he was holding the axles while I was trying to move the car, and a little bit sketchy on the side of the road, diagnostic stuff, trying to figure out. And I love Jamie because he'll never quit. And I have the same mentality too. So we were trying to find a way to keep going, and it was smoked. This year, there was a section of road was so rough. I had Glenn note axles as a note.
5 left short, rough, axles. 70, axles 70.
Well, speaking of axles, you can watch the next video too.
Ooh, all right. So number 2 here. I see the title here.
I shifted down. My revs are way up in the middle of the corner.
Oh, you're revving it a lot. Ooh, that was a little bit sideways. Oh, look at the revs now. Oh my goodness, they were revving high.
Oh, Ryan. Okay. So this is 2 things: mechanical sympathy and driving with emotion. One of the big lessons at Team O'Neill is constantly try to not drive with emotion. This is the first rally I do on the Pacific Northwest, and it's in Dirtfish's backyard. And as a Team O'Neill representative CEO, I came in with the want and desire to do well just in their backyard. So I was driving harder than I'd ever driven at this point in my life and rally career, because I felt like I had something to prove, even though no one else saw. It was a purely motivated thing. And that stage, Olympus is known for being a rough rally. And again, very similar situation, corners, rough corners, lots of input. So, and I'm overdriving because of emotion, and that shock loading breaks the axles. Luckily this time it doesn't break any teeth off in the diff. So we were able to repair the car and actually used Nick Allen's recce car Ford Fiesta and used his axles. And Ryan and TRF were able to get me back out and rally. And I go back out and I am driving around a corner, and I drop a tire in a ditch and my suspension fails. So that rally was enough for me to like learn how to drive with a little less emotion. The other fun story about that was Tim O'Neill ended up crashing on that same stage about 5 miles down the road. So I call him and I'm like, where are you? He's like, I'm on whatever stage that was. And so I'm like, I am too. And I'm like, we're just down the road from each other. So the fact that we both crashed on the same stage was a pretty interesting moment. Big lesson from that specifically was that, yes, I need to learn to drive with less emotion and understand the fragility of a stock axle in a rally setting. And if you drive smoothly, you don't need to actually be that aggressive. And those
Right.
Ford Fiestas are actually really, really good and strong. There's some things you can't do in a stock vehicle when you rally.
Right. Everything has its limitations.
Yep.
So speaking of emotional driving, check out the next video.
Next video. It's number 3. Oh boy. I love that I can see the titles. Oh man.
But look at how quick he got into that reverse.
Tony.
That's some Hollywood stuff right there.
So this was cool. There were so many things about this. New England Forest Rally, the rally I owned. First time I was driving it, so I'd been there for years. I'd volunteered, managed, and then eventually owned the rally. I decided I needed a chance to drive it, so I took that opportunity to be on the driver's side, and that was the first time that I ever came up to another competitor and passed someone on a rally stage. And again, driving with emotion, the feeling that you get in rally, because this is not a door-to-door sport, we don't get to do rally against other cars. It's all about the stopwatch, and if you get to see someone else on stage, there is this level of excitement and emotion that comes. And I've talked to so many other rally drivers, and this is pretty consistent across the board. If you see someone else, you're jacked up and you're ready to try to pass them. So he was really nice. Tony let me pass. He saw me in the rear view, and I pass him. And this is another issue of I didn't have a really detailed note system when I was starting to drive faster. And the corner was a right 4, I believe, into a left 3 or a left 5 into a right 4, something like that. And it was also a downhill. And I didn't note the downhill section. So I drove it like I would have. And I see the downhill, and my eyes, if you're not looking where you want to go in any sort of racing, your body doesn't do what it needs to do. And I lift off the gas. And in a front wheel drive car, you see what happens when you lift off the gas. You spin around. The other thing I was really proud of, though, is once I was spinning, I was putting the car in reverse, did that nice little turn, and we were able to get
You
back.
got out of that pretty quickly. This is comical to me because you did it right in front of where I was standing. So,
And that was your clip, right?
Yeah.
And John Grew was there as well.
Yeah,
John had some
John.
really good pictures, and that was the VIP spectator bus, which was a really legitimate, or it was a really tough thing for us to manage. So the fact that I got to give the VIP bus spectators such a show, like as a business guy, all of the things that checked all the boxes. So I'm proud of this clip. I'm proud I screwed up in front of the largest group of people at New England Forest Rally, and the fact that we get to watch this clip again. So thanks, Mike, for showing me that.
and the next one is similar. It might not be as exciting, but still has the same meaning, lesson.
Oh yeah. So the Ohio spin.
Well, it's important that if you're going to look good, it's okay to do something stupid or look horrible. At least they got it on film.
That was seeing a media vest and trying to do a pendulum turn and look cool on purpose and totally botching the actual execution of that, and it ended up making me spin. And yeah, no, that was a good lesson. And I actually was doing really well in this rally, and we had a fuel issue. So there's a lot of emotion, and there was things I was trying to catch up on. At this point, I'm just like having a good time. So it's like, all right, I'm a little bit out of the focus that you should have if you're racing and being competitive. And so showing off was part of the game for me. And I ended up making that mistake because I wasn't in the mode of like how to do this corner properly. It was like, how do I give the photographers the best thing? And obviously it became a good clip because it was such a poorly executed corner, but that wasn't my goal as in the driver's seat, was to make it look cool, and ended up not doing that. So
What do you do now to manage those emotions when you're passing someone or there's spectators? Do you just kind of ignore it all, or?
it really helps that I have failed managing my emotions. So then when I do get into these moments where I do pass somebody, that Tony clip comes back into my mind. When I see the blue vest media person on a left one, which is a most severe corner, which is a perfect setup for usual pendulum, I'll second guess the pendulum. Sometimes I will still do it, especially if it's a downhill and you can get this really sweet looking pendulum. I'll still do it sometimes, but I reel in a little bit of my own, need to have that, showy fun side of the rally racing. And at the end of the day, the goal is to win, and the goal is to place well, and trying to keep that as the main priority.
These next few clips are going to be about knowing how to understand your equipment.
So naughty that you put the titles on here. And this clip's funny because this is the exact same spot as the last clip.
Yeah.
So I just passed the place where I ran out of fuel and I spin out. So again, back to managing emotion, this is something Tim and I actually have talked a lot about. If you pass a spot where you failed to pass in the past at a rally, you tend to get this like comfort. And that's what happened to me at that spin as well. And so I ran out of fuel here, and this was a little bit a stock fuel tank in a Ford Fiesta has two little doors. And I found someone on the side of the road with a gas can with a gallon of gas, and he gave it to me. And I didn't know that you had to push the gas can through the second door to get into the fuel tank. So I push it in what I think is deep enough into the stock fuel tank, the fuel neck filler, and it starts to dump gas all over the ground. And the competitor behind me is honking his horn, beeping, "You're dumping gas on the ground." And I'm all flustered. I'm like, what the hell? So I think the tank is full of gas, and I think my fuel gauge is wrong. So that's where I go into that stage like, okay, maybe the gauge is broken. And I didn't know that the double door thing, because it's a capless gas tank on a Ford Fiesta, you have two doors that you have to get through. So that was a huge misunderstanding of my equipment.
So yeah, you ran out of gas in Ohio. What happened at LSPR here?
All right. Oh boy, this one's fresh, Mikey. Oh, yeah. This one's embarrassing because it's such a simple fix, and it costs us so much time. But we didn't understand in our impact drill, and I didn't understand in most impact drills, that you actually can change the torque settings. Something I didn't know about the world. I've done carpentry, I've done some other handyman stuff, and I just for some reason never knew that an impact drill had settings for your torque. And our drill ended up somehow getting put back on us on one setting. And so Glenn is doing most of the work, and Glenn's trying to lift the car while I'm doing all the other logistics. So Glenn's the one actually running the gun, and he cannot get it to lift the car. He can't get it to get the lug nuts off, and I'm getting frustrated. He's getting frustrated. And the car even wasn't in, we were on a hill, and it slipped off the jack once. And so there's so many things that went so poorly with this tire change. At the end of the day, if we knew about the torque setting of the impact gun, it would have made a huge difference in our ability to actually have a chance to get second place in the championship.
So some of these lessons you learned coming from emotional driving and some of these offs you've had and everything, some of them you could say have been caused because of the way you've done recce in the past. So what's changed about that recently?
Okay. So, yeah, recce for me, I mean, if anyone doesn't know stage rally already, you spend more time and effort than racing actually preparing to go racing, and we call that reconnaissance recce. And that is a custom note system that you have to create as a driver. You have to know the words the co-driver says for you to do the action, right? How severe a corner is, how long the distance calls are. It actually doesn't matter what the word is as long as it's consistent and I can drive fully committed to that note. So I have worked with Martin Headland at first, which I got an opportunity. He was Tim O'Neill's championship winning rally co-driver, had done hundreds of rallies, had an amazing amount of experience, helped us build American Rally Association. He helped us run Team O'Neill Motorsports, like had a huge connection with Martin, and he got me started in rally. He was my co-driver for my first handful of events. And then once I kind of got to a point where I was comfortable with Martin, it made sense to go up with Glenn to really start to get a very nuanced set of notes and very detailed. So that's what we started to do. So I'm guessing go to the next video here.
Yeah.
Number 7.
And that's when we decided to go to a 1-to-9 steering wheel cover system. So what I have now is a 1-to-9 system that is a consistent spacing between each number.
I like this story, and I'm glad I get a chance to talk about it because most rally in the United States is on a 1-to-6 severity of corner system. 6 being very little turning, a 1 being the most aggressive. Typically, a lot of us have lower than 1s like acute or hairpin or additional words that like a really sharp corner. And I got a chance to do Tennessee, and Sean Johnston was there, who is one of the only American drivers to do like WRC 2 level driving. So you could say probably one of the top fastest American rally drivers there is right now. And I was talking to him about his note system and what he does, and he's like, you got to get on a 1-to-9, 1-to-10 system. I'm like, why is that? He's like, there's at no point in your career where it's going to get ever any easier to get more information, right? Like you should have as much information to you as available as possible. And a 1-to-9 system, a 1-to-10 system allows you to have a lot smaller window for each number. And then you could plus and minus that as well. So I could have 30 numbers if it was a 1-to-10 with plus and minus. So a 10 plus or minus, a 9 plus or minus. So there's 30 words or terms that my co-driver can tell me for how severe the corner is going to be. I was really worried about using this system because I was now at that point 13 rallies into used to hearing 1-to-6, and my fear was hearing Glenn tell me 6 and being ready to fully commit to that corner. And on a 1-to-9 system, a 6 is now like a 3+. So like if you're going into like a full commitment corner and it's not, it's a 3, which is is almost like a 90-degree corner, you were going to drive off the road. There's no way you could account for that. So I picked it up immediately. I had no issues. Glenn and I, our cadence and timing really got really well, so it worked out awesome.
You think more people will switch to this system?
I did the video because I wanted to educate the community on the option to, and I think if you are doing a few handful rallies a year, I don't see the need to go to that level, right? My path and my experience in rally is way more professional, I guess I would say, than a lot of the American drivers, in the sense of I own a rally school. I'm in the business of rally in the United States. I want to touch and taste all of rally that is potentially available to me. Most of our competitors, the people we get to race with, do this as a hobby, right? So if you're a hobby rallyist, I don't know if you need to go to the 1-to-9 system. If you're getting success and you're happy enough at a 1-to-6 system, I don't think you need to. But I think if you have the desire to want to try something new, the 1-to-9 system with the Easy Right steering wheel cover makes it super simple to give it a shot, and you can see if it's something you'd like.
In the next video, you tried something different here, and curious about your opinion if people should take that seriously, if it's a good tool, or if it's something silly.
into right 3, into flat left, tightens 5. So using video games to do recce practice. If you live anywhere near your co-driver, and you could do this all online too, actually, you don't even need to live near them. The dollar for seat time to figure out a note system that would work for you, video games would actually really make sense. Put it on mute, you sit with your co-driver, and you come up with a note system that will get you through a video game at the same level of commitment with the ability to hit a reset button. I actually think this is a no-brainer for somebody to try new things. Yeah, no, I think there's a huge opportunity for you to get seat time and practice and using video games, especially with your co-driver, and using notes to find a way for your dictionary for rally.
So leading up to being able just to be a rally driver, you need driving skills. So let's talk about some of the driving skills you've learned at Team O'Neill.
Driving skills. Yeah, so I'm it's important to note, I came into Team O'Neill having never driven a rally car, having absolutely no experience. So the first time I ever got to sit inside of a rally car was at Team O'Neill. The first thing I ever did before I was even an employee was take the 5-day rally school. So I've had to learn pretty much all of my driving skills that's outside of, teen hooliganism. I crashed my 1992 Subaru Legacy Impreza when I was 16 years old because I tried to go around a corner at 80 miles an hour on a dirt road and not understanding how all-wheel drive or braking or weight transfer or any of it worked. I thought I could turn the steering wheel and the car would just go there, and it went straight off the road as it should based on physics. So I've had to learn everything.
That was your first real lesson.
That was well, all I did was I just stopped driving fast on dirt roads until I got to Team O'Neill.
Super early.
Yeah, I'm playing with the brake and the gas at the same time.
Yes.
There's so many lessons I have learned from Team O'Neill. And the one thing Tim has always hit home was trail braking is the most effective motorsport braking tool, right? Whatever you do in motorsports, trail braking is the best tool to be the fastest, from what I understand, from what I've tried. And that's something, since I've done no background in motorsports, I haven't karted, I haven't done the things on a racetrack. I need to learn trail braking. I've learned so much about trail braking and the fact that when you get it right, the car does what it needs to do, and you're the John Buffum quote, "In like a lamb, out like a lion." If you get trail braking perfect, you can come out of that corner so much faster than any other braking tool that you have for the most part. So yeah, this was a really good learning moment for me, especially on loose surface. Al was great with giving me the coaching and instruction and actually getting to feel it in a car and really hammering this home for me. When this was 8 or 9 years after I'd been at Team O'Neill. So I'd done a lot of training and seat time, and trail braking was still to this day one of those things that I'm constantly working on.
So we had the opportunity. We went to Atlanta, Georgia to shoot some videos down there, and we ended up getting to go visit the stunt drivers at Dynamic Stunts, and you had a pretty cool aha moment there too.
Yeah, no, this was a cool opportunity too that came up last second, and those guys invited us out, and we got to spend some time in there.
Lock up first, then turn.
Yes, lock up in a straight line.
Tahoe.
Okay.
And the turn is like that. Lock up. Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. And then you
Okay.
turn into it. Exactly.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, you turn into it.
Yeah. So, and I think we've dealt with this a little bit on the internet now. There's very specific moments, especially on pavement, where locking up your wheels first and then turning allows for an extreme precision corner. Like Kevin's trying to teach me, if you're trying to stop in the box in a very precision way, that is the most effective tool to use. We've also talked about it in our How to Gymkhana series. There are times where locking up first, then turning works. In a loose surface environment, from everything we train at Team O'Neill, you want to turn first, then use a handbrake. So it's very situational dependent. But I had a big aha moment there because I was doing turn first, then handbrake, and I could not get the maneuver done. And that was the one piece of advice Kevin gave me, and I was able to actually execute that maneuver. So it was just like just one of those light bulb moments for me, which was kind of cool.
That was cool. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching all those clips from Blast from the past 2 years. What are some messages you'd convey to someone maybe who's following your path, like they want to get into rally? What are some of like the big aha moments you could provide them with? Maybe they could, skip some of your mistakes, or maybe they should make their own mistakes. But what are some what's a good message you could give people to encourage?
Yeah, I mean, really for me, the whole reason to get in front of a camera and try to get comfortable doing what we're doing right now is to give you, the viewers, the chance to learn all the lessons I've made my mistakes from. And we have all the video evidence here of that. But I have learned so much by watching other people fail, and I want to give you the opportunity as the viewer to do the same thing. So we have this huge library of information now available to anyone that might want to follow those footsteps and get into motorsports. Or maybe you never want to do this at all and you're just entertained by watching me fail and watching me succeed the few times I get to, and want to watch along our path. But that's what each one of these videos is for. My path is so unique to me. A lot of our content is, specifically me learning how a car works. If you're a mechanic, you probably get a little, maybe think it's silly or embarrassing for me on how little I understand about cars and mechanics. And yeah, of course those axles break, or of course, the gearbox can't handle that, or of course the impact gun has torque settings. Those are just things I haven't had the opportunity to experience as a business owner, business manager. I've just decided to take the path of learning how to run businesses and try to make money that way, so I could pay people to be on the team and go to rally that way. There's a lot of other people who've done rally in different ways, becoming a mechanic or engineer, understanding cars, building it yourself, doing all the logistics yourself. For however person wants to get into rally, it's awesome for them to have their own path. If I can give you guys a few lessons to help your path be a little easier, I guess that would be my primary goal of this content.
I've enjoyed documenting it all. So
thanks, Mikey.